just asking.
After the war period.
In 44, where did you go after that point?
44, after the Germans ran away and the Russians came into our little area, we were lucky because the Russians just came in about 10 kilometers wide and about 15 kilometers to the land. You know, they made like a little cutoff. They got in there through the Vistula, and we were there, like I told you, with all those poles where we were on that place. We were liberated there, because I remember we jumped out the first to the Russians, to the things come in, and we jumped and we told them we Jews. And I'll tell you, there was a tragedy too. 2 officers jumped out from not a tragedy, but it was broken our heart. 2 officers jumped out from the tank, and they start crying with us, you wouldn't believe it. 2 Jews. 2 Polish Jews from Poland, but they were in the tank division. Because there was mostly the Jews, but they escaped, the young ones like me. I wanted to go to Russia too in 1939. Not that we run there, that they run there as communists. They just ran away from the Germans, and they had the guts to do it. And they were in the tank division. And believe me, the way they hugged us, and they took us in the tanks. And we never believed it. There was about 10 Jews in that group where we were. Maybe there was 2,000-3,000 people. There was another few Jews. From our town, we didn't know, because they were with beards and this and that. You didn't recognize them. They took us. Then we walked around to look. Father did it. He says, he had in mind, he says, there must be somebody else over here. And they took us back. They turned the tank around. They didn't care about anything. They took us in to that Baron's place, back to the things. Took us over there, and right away, that time there was the NKVD there, like the KGB, you know. They come right in, and they start asking us about the area, what was going on. But I'll tell you, those 2 Jewish boys were hanging around us. You wouldn't believe it. They didn't go back to the front line. They went into the offices and says, this is my family. And I'm not going, I want to be with them. Then, like I say, the same thing, that mayor, that manager from the Baron, he was picked up from the Germans. Because why? He was walking around with the Hakenkreuz, you know, he was on SS. So we right away knew that he was picked up. A couple days later, he was picked up. He had 3 kids and his wife. So we right away found out from the city, the mayor of the city was a Russian. And we got there to say, that guy saved our lives. They say, you know what the answer was from them? How much money are you getting paid for it? I says, what do you mean? And, but I'll tell you, that mayor was a smart man. He did not just support us. He was supporting the underground. He had letters from the underground and he was giving them food and everything, and we didn't know about it. So he had letters. We walked in, and you know, and again there was the nice part is that there was in that KGB or in English, there was a lot of Jews, you know, from Russia. And I'll tell you, they were testing us if we know how to speak Yiddish and how to daven, even to say the prayer, because they didn't, how did they know? I didn't look like a Jew, you know, they didn't know who I am. But the people knew us, I mean, later on. And I will tell you very honestly, they let him out. They gave him a bunch of cows and horses and buggies, and he went back to Poznan, you know, back to Germany. He was very much escorted, and Father was in touch with him all the years until he passed away, but I was not in touch with him as much. But I know that he lives in Poznan. He probably is not alive anymore, the kids are. But he was a non-usual. I know it's hard for people to understand. There were righteous people in this world too, okay? And I think we should attribute to that, which I am trying. We built the Holocaust Memorial Center in Detroit, one of the biggest in the United States. and I'm very much involved in it. And we played tribute like the people where I was hidden. Carolyn was with me, the whole family. We went there a few years ago. And I'm sending them packages and everything else all through the years. The older people passed away already because they were my father's age, 89, 90 years old. And I'm trying, I'm always thinking about them because they really saved our lives. There's no doubt about it.
Go back for a minute. You talked about your family going to Treblinka, but your parents went to Auschwitz. How did that happen?
My parents and the Franken was stayed in lodge. And they stayed in the ghetto till 1944, until the ghetto was liquidated. Just a few weeks before the war was over, actually. And they went to Auschwitz. In Auschwitz, they were holding on to mother. So they didn't realize they're going to go left and right, so they were together. So right, left, and right.
The
so mother went to the left.
Excuse me for interrupting you. There was, nobody knew about it. They were a selection. You were lucky. One, right and left.
Yeah,
who went to the left was gone.
That's right. So
Was going to be cut, I mean to the gas chamber.
They went to Auschwitz, and from Auschwitz, and the Franken and the Rosa went to Bergen-Belsen, and there they were liberated.
Oh, I didn't realize that they weren't liberated in Auschwitz.
Yeah,
They were liberated in Bergen-Belsen, and then they were brought into Auschwitz. They went into, they were in Auschwitz and went to Bergen-Belsen. On Bergen, they were liberated. And my mother and father went into Auschwitz. They were gone there.
So, when you were liberated, how did you finally meet each other?
After I was liberated in Częstochow, after Lodz was liberated, so a whole group of us went to Lodz. And we got an apartment there. And then every day I went to the Jewish center, and there were lists who lived through the war, who lived through the war. And we're going every day. Then one day I saw all Lola Weintraub, Franka Weintraub, another Franka Weintraub, Rosa Weintraub, Mala Weintraub, not me, but Auntie Mala. So I got in contact with them through the Red Cross, and I found out that my two sisters are alive. And they were already in Marburg. Over there.
In Germany?
In Lodz.
Oh.
In Lodz. When I was going to the Jewish center, Rose Blackman's brother was with me in camp together. Mm-hmm. And he was going with me over there to look up who was alive. So at that time we met there, and I met him there. So he already was in Lodz and had an apartment there, or came to Lodz at that time and had an apartment. He was trying to open up a store already. And I lived with the family. And that's how I met.
You say you met him once before. He doesn't remember, but
this was when I was in Kozienice, and my parents were in the ghetto, and there was a distant cousin lived in his town, and she was going like a gentlewoman to Lodz, traveled there. So I would write my mother when she will pass. The train had to go through the ghetto. Mm-hmm. When this train gonna pass, and she knew her. So she would throw some money on the train for us. And then I went to pick up the money there, and he doesn't remember, but I remember we were in that store that they were selling beer and stuff like that, and we were sitting around, and they came in, a bunch of boys and Dad came in too, but he doesn't remember that.
And then you went, so Dad came to Lodz.
Dad was in Lodz already, and opened up a store, and we started going together, and then we got married in September.
In Lodz?
In Lodz in 1945.
No, let me tell
you.
And
then what? Then how did you, okay, wait, go ahead, Dan, sure.
Let me tell you how we actually met. No, it's silly because she said it, but she didn't bring it out the way it was. No, it was close, but the thing is, you see, the Rosens were from my hometown.
Yes, he knows that.
Well, I know that, but go ahead.
They were in concentration camp together.
With me?
Yes. That one what was left, that Moshe, was my best boyfriend from home yet. Yes. He lived through with her. So when I came to Lodz already, I was already 7-8 months liberated. I was drafted to the Polish Russian army. which my father took me out. You know, I was a few months in the army. I was fighting, you know. He took me out because I was drafted. You know, I was born in 22, so I was drafted right away. And because I went to Lublin, you know, across. And I started already, like I say, father was involved in business. You know, we started doing any kind of business. So when I come in to Radom, Poland, when the Rosens were all there. So then I went with Moshe, with Moshe Rosen. I went with him to Lodz, to come to Lodz, and then everybody was going to the Jewish Senate to see who is who, what is what, who is alive, who's not alive, because everybody was confused. There was boys, girls, nobody knew where to go, what to do, you know. I happened to be lucky. I have father. We right away come into Lodz. We took a beautiful apartment, a German apartment. I could care less. I was a partisan, you know. To me, to handle a gun or anything was like nothing. I tell you the truth. To shoot was nothing to me either, because what the hell did I have to lose, you know? So I was, you know, very, so Moshe says, you know what, let's go to the, because I got very close with him. And we went to the things. He says, you know what, there's a girl there, you're going to like it. He says, the whole bunch, they come back, a whole bunch of girls. Each one was prettier than the other. I'm telling you, a bunch of movie stars. And they still, I mean, a lot of, I mean, there was probably they were about 10 of them. No, it was the truth. So he says, let's go there. He really introduced me to her, because she says she saw me once, I don't remember. And I'll tell you, I was dressed like you see me, I was dressed. They were all like, she was still wearing that concentration camp.
I didn't have anything.
You know, that gown, what they were
Not a gown, a coat with the Jewish star on the back.
With the Jewish star on the back and everything else. And I was all ready because I had a lot of money. And I opened the store right away in Lodz. Father already was in the store. And we were doing well. And I met her, and in no time, just a few months later, we got married, and we fell in love. And we really, believe me, if you would see her a week later, she looked like a queen.
One week of marriage did it.
No, I took her out because I always loved. I took her out, bought her beautiful clothes. And listen, the other girls, they all did married pretty well. And,
so what? So they went. So you went. Then how did you get to Germany? When did you go?
When I found out that my sisters are alive, but they knew already that I'm alive because the people from our camp that went, they sent them to Germany. Some of them got to Germany. They saw me in Bergen-Belsen walking, and they said, Mala. You know, and he goes, Mala, that's me. They thought it was me. So he said, do you know my sister Mala? I'm not Mala, but I had a sister Mala. Was she in Skaržisko and Chancellor, because I used to write to them? He said, yes, I know she's alive. She did not go on the wagon. She did not go leave the camp. So she must be alive. So they knew that I was alive, but they didn't know where I was.
So they thought you were Auntie Rosa was you, or Auntie Franca was you?
No, Auntie Franca was me. Yeah, at that time when we were younger, we looked very much alike. And so after we got married in September, and in December we went to Germany to see my sisters, and there I met Uncle Mickey. We came in the what was the police in Germany? The American police.
The MP.
MP, yeah. Because you were not allowed to walk at night. So they got us in a jeep and they took us over there. And I rang the bell, and Uncle Mickey was standing upstairs because it was middle of the night. And I said, does Franca Weintraub live here? They said, yes. And he started screaming, and I didn't recognize them. They had no hair. So I didn't recognize them. I didn't recognize Uncle Mickey either. And they said they don't know me either because, you know, we all look so different after that war. But I stayed there. We stayed there till 49. We were in Germany.
Yeah, but we didn't stay with them.
No, not with them. But you know, we stayed in Germany till 49 till we came to the States.
Now, what was the story that there was some kind of interrogation that Dad went through, and you were telling him? You tell me about he was with some. I thought it was the Russian police or something.
Yeah, no, this was happening.
He kept forgetting something. Then you were like.
This was when when I met him. So it was the beginning after the war. So in Czechoslovakia, there was a big camp. There was a lot of merchandise there. So people were going there, buying the stuff.
Not much, a lot of merchandise. There was
Yes.
I mean Theresienstadt. You
Yeah,
heard
there was the
about
camp.
Theresienstadt?
Yeah.
Theresienstadt was our camp.
Yeah.
May I interrupt you on that here, or you want to tell it?
Go ahead.
Tell about Theresienstadt, where this came from.
That's
Yeah.
right. Because right after the war, I was liberated already 8 months before, and let me tell you, to me, business was always there. Okay.
Okay, this we know. Okay,
Okay,
let's
go on.
go on
No,
to
so
the
I
point.
just want to bring it how we
Okay.
got there, what happened to me. Didn't happen to her.
But
So
you're lucky I was there.
I had all kind of passports.
Yeah.
If you wanted, I was a Russian, I was a Pole, I was anything, because I had to have it. So kind. So make the story short, we were going to Theresienstadt. So we had to smuggle ourselves out from the Polish into go into Czechoslovakia, because Theresienstadt was in Czechoslovakia. We went I took a whole bunch with me, all her friends.
Yeah,
we all
went
went,
together.
all her friends, because why? There was a lot of clothes, good clothes, from the dead Jews. They brought to Theresienstadt all furs, all the best clothes, boots and everything else. So we went there because in Poland we didn't have anything. So a lot of them went there, and you picked up for nothing this stuff, you put it on the train, you brought back to lodge, and you sold it. Like we went to the German cities, we picked up anything we could because we had to get some money in our pockets or do something, So I went there. What happened is, the Polish MP comes up to me and he says, because when they're so young ones, why aren't you in the army? They start asking questions. Make the story short, they took a few of us and put us to our jail. The jail had windows, jail to hold us.
I can see it now.
Then they're going to call each one of us and to talk to us and to see, question us who we are. In the meantime, I told them, they asked me what my name is. I gave my name, but then I didn't remember if I gave him the right name or the wrong name.
That's not a joke.
So she happened to walk by. I says, Mala, what's my name? I don't even know what my name is. Because I gave him the passport,
And you forgot which one.
and this was a different name. I didn't remember. I had 10 names.
And you did remember?
I remember I gave it to him, yeah.
So he gave me, and they called me, and he looked at the things, and he says, "That's you, yeah, okay." If I would say a different name, I'll bet you I would be in Siberia today. Yes.
Sure.
So this was the story there.
Yeah.
And we went and we brought back stuff, and but I'll tell you one thing. If we are alive and we are here, is as much as I'm not a believer in God, because what I saw in my lifetime done to people what they really believed in God and prayed every minute and every day, what did happen is it's hard to believe that somebody's above you, but still and all, after the war, I started to do believing, going back to my tradition, and to say, because it was, believe me, we can sit over here for 2 days. I have episodes where what I lived through is hard to believe that you had the guts to do those kind of things. I mean, like we had the forest, and in the forests, where the forest people, what do you call them over here?
The rangers, no? Not rangers.
Rangers, yes. Which they were watching over the forest and so forth. And there happened to be in my area, there was a ranger. He was half German and half Polish. I mean, Volksdeutsch they call it. He was a murderer. When he saw a Jew, because he right away gave him over to the. And here I was a young boy going at night to that baron to bring him a few pieces of gold, for the month, that he ships us food. And I walk out in the middle of the forest, and I see this guy standing. And he knew me, because we were dealing with him before the war. So he says to me, "Would you mind coming into my house?" I had in my heart, like God would tell me, as much as you know him, don't go. We heard a little bit about him. He says, "I heard that you Dorfmans are around here. That's why I want to discuss with you. I want to help you." And believe me or not, this is the first person, I don't know, kill him I did not because he was prosecuted later on. But I just pulled my gun out and shoot right, I didn't care where but I hit him here in the leg and I ran away. And this was an episode that was very hard for me to do it. But this is the kind of guts you had. A person you didn't mean anything. Because you were worrying about your life, because you knew, what is he gonna, I figured, if he gets a hold of me, I'd be gone. And on top of it, they're gonna you know, question me, and they're gonna torture me, and I'm gonna tell them that we are there a whole bunch. And I right away figured there could be 100 people killed in economy, you know. I didn't even care about me anymore.
How did you decide to come to the United States, Mom?
How? We really were planning to go to Israel. And we had shop, we had bought furniture and appliances, everything to go to Israel. And then Dad's uncle wrote us a letter that, you know, 1948, 47, 48. 48, wrote us a letter and he said, don't come, it's so bad here. If you have papers to go to America, go to America. So we decided we're going to go to America, so we applied for it and we waited for our papers. And Dad was in business then, he was doing very well. And I said to him, as soon as I get papers, I want to get out of here. I don't want to live in Germany. And when the papers came, the papers came and he said, let's postpone it a little bit. I said, no, I don't want it. And it happened the night before, when we were talking about it. Someone was going to America, a couple with a child, and he wanted to buy a camera. And a German was supposed to bring him the camera over.
Of course.
And he brought him over the camera and took him down to the basement and cut him up alive, right next door where I live, next house, building where I live. And I said to Dad, Henry, I have the papers, I don't care what you're going to do, I'm leaving. And I made up my mind, I don't want to be one more hour in this Germany. And that's where we went.
It's amazing you stayed there so long. You had the same.
But we didn't have the papers.
No, I
we had to
understand.
wait for papers.
I don't
We
mean
couldn't go.
amazing. I'm just saying that
We
you
stayed
had
there because we had no choice.
You had
Where
the
we
same
gonna go?
experience with your friend that was thrown from the train in Poland.
That's right. This is that
This is the same.
brother.
This is the one what
Lackman's-
induced me to mother.
That's right. That's
The
the same.
Poles took him, you know,
He
he
went
was
off.
on the train, lived through the war with her,
Was going back
in
to
with me, and you know, and after the war in 1945, was it in 45? Yeah, 45.
Yeah, the 45.
He was on a train. I was supposed to go with him
Yeah.
to Poznan on the same train. Says, Henry, we go there and we'll buy some old, you know, clothing and things from the Germans and we bring it back here. They come up the AK, they called it, you know. This was like you got the Ukrainians, you know, they were with the Germans all the way, a bunch of Nazis, you know. They come out and whoever a Jew was on that train, they took him out and killed him. After the war. So this left a big taste in my mouth that I don't want no part of Poland or anything, I mean.
How did you get to the States?
How?
Yeah.
The joint sent us papers.
No, but
how?
Maggie DeFranco flew. You actually.
No, we came by boat. I was sick like a dog. And the General Brandy,
Omar Brandy.
Brandy's boat. It was a military boat. And I was sick, but we were on the boat for about 12 days, 13 days. I was sick from the time I got on the boat till I got off. And on top of it, there were a lot of Polacks too on that boat. And I don't know why or what it was, for what reason, she punished us, me and Dorka Silbernik. And we had to go clean the toilets, as sick as we were. Because I don't remember what, we didn't want to get off the bridge or something, had some, you know, not the cuts, you know, one on top of the other, we were sleeping. We were so sick we couldn't move, an army boat, we couldn't move. So she punished us. So I remember Isha went and did for us the job. He cleaned it because we couldn't go in there. And we came to New York, and then we went to Topeka, Kansas. Our papers were for Topeka, Kansas.
What was the first thing you saw of the United States?
The Statue of Liberty. That's right. This was the first
But you
thing
didn't
I
come
saw.
into Ellis Island.
No, no, no.
Where did you land? Do you remember? Just
We landed in New York.
New York, at the
you
harbor,
know?
New York harbor.
The first thing we saw the
did they give
second
you a
one.
hard time when you got? I mean, did you have to go through like Ellis Island? Seemed like was a much bigger process to get in.
No, no, they didn't give us a hard time. The only thing was there was something that we had to pay duty or something. I don't remember what it was.
Let me tell you what it was
Who
too.
remembers? It's so many years ago.
Okay, I do remember everything.
I don't.
The first thing is, I was very well off in Germany, you know, because I was doing the same thing. I knew best was the meat business, because I was brought up since a kid, and in Europe, if the father's a baker, you're a baker. If you go even to college or whatever, this is what we don't have here in this country. This is the problem. So, when I got, and I was working for the U.S. government, and I was very precise. Whatever I done, I wanted in writing. So when I got into the council, I mean, like I say, when I was leaving Germany, I got into the council in Bremerhaven to go to the United States. I had a pack of paper from General Clay, from all Sembach, I mean, from all the people. I was I was working in the kitchen. I controlled the whole kitchen, from the officers' club. So when I come to the council to Bremerhaven, people were sitting there for weeks. You know, I go through papers, things. He says, take a look at my papers. He says, you know, that's the kind we need in America. Don't worry about it. I was on the ship in the next few hours. Come into the States. I lived the way it should be. I mean, they told you don't bring any dollars, any money. Okay. I had money, because I was getting paid from the government, I think $150 a month or something, I don't know, from the U.S. government. Script, you know, there was no, it was the dollars, they were making the money, script, I don't know if you remember that. And so what did I do? I was very close with the officers and the people there and with the buyers. And they could go into any factory and buy anything. So they told me, says, you know what, if you're going there, you're going to be a refugee, you got some money, buy some crystal, buy, what do you call, dishes, what do you call, china, Rosenthal and all this, and silverware and things. Believe me or not, I had 4 crates. 2 people, you know. And the 4 crates were probably like a half of this room. Big crates. Big, and, you know, so I come into over there. Here I come from Germany, a refugee. Yeah. Listen, what do you call from the Zoll, what do you call it?
When you go through customs.
The customs come up. I says, you just come and get, what do you got in there? I says, that's what I got. I got all the papers. I got every piece of paper, everything, signed and everything. They look, but you know what? You got to pay duty.
$50 or whatever.
I says, I haven't got no money, but I got $50. That's all I have. They looked. So then they took us already bought in, and they start looking at this and that, because I said, listen, if you're going to give me a rough time, I'm going back. I don't have to be here. Really mean it. Because I didn't leave because I left for one reason. I do not want no part of the Germans. And if I come in here and you're going to start up with me this way, he says, look at my papers. Finally, they took me into a top guy, and he says, and I said to him, I can assure you, if I'm going to owe you 50, that's all I have. And I'm going to Topeka, Kansas. I don't know how long I'm going to travel to Topeka, Kansas on the train. On the Santa Fe, I remember like today. So they said, okay, sign it that you're going to pay us if you're going to go to work. Where are you going? I told them where we're going. We had a specific thing. You probably heard the name Payless Shoes, Volume Shoe Company. These are the people we went. They were Jewish people in Topeka, Kansas. And there where we went. So they gave me all the crates and everything else. But they gave me a rough time for about 2-3 hours. I was like, you know.
Mom, so you went to Topeka and the Poses.
Yeah, they were, when we got there, the Poses were not in town. So they came to the train, a couple, 2 people came to the train to pick us up. I mean, they walked back and forth, they were looking for the refugees coming in. I was dressed. All of a sudden, so we stopped them. We said, "Are you looking for Dorfman?" He said, "Yes." Go in like this, to look at us.
They weren't too happy because we were
Anyway,
dressed just like
yeah.
you see us now.
Anyways, they took us to a hotel. And the woman took me into the bathroom, showed me this way you flash the water, this way you turn on. And I didn't say anything. Then she takes out $1 and $5. This is $1 and this is $5 and this is a quarter. I said, I know.
But you didn't speak English then.
No, she
A little bit.
She just
I
showed me
spoke a little bit.
She showed me, and they left me in the hotel there. They went down to the restaurant. I was looking what someone was eating. They pointed to the waitress to serve me whatever I saw there. But then when Mr. Poses and Miss Poser came back, we went to look for an apartment. They had prepared an apartment for us. A bakery was in the front, and we were in the back. At night you could die, and during the day you could freeze. That's what an apartment was, one room. So Mr. Poser's sister, Luba, and her husband, we got friendly with them. He took us in, he had a truck, he didn't have a car, a truck he had. Took us in the truck, and we drove around, we got an apartment. And that started working for them for $30 a week. And did they give us any furniture? I don't remember what they gave us.
Whatever, I left the whole
I
thing.
left everything. I mean, a refrigerator, I think they gave us, and a bed. And their apartment had a table with 2 chairs, with a kitchen, a bedroom, And I didn't work. I was sick and didn't work. I had to have surgery. I had 2 surgeries in a matter of 3 months. And we were there in Topeka, Kansas for 9 months. But the Poses adopted us as their children. When I was operated, Mr. Poses did not leave my bed because he was the only one that could speak Yiddish. Yeah. And he would interpret for me, and he would
Polish
sit
too.
there. And then Uncle Larry was getting married, and he wanted us to bring him to the altar. So the 2 of us, before we got the apartment, Mr. and Mrs. Pose went away, and they said to us, "You stay in my house." They had a housekeeper, and the kids were there, Jerry. Jerry was a little boy, 8 years old, 7 years old.
And Marsha.
Marsha was in high school. And when he was getting undressed, so he got undressed, and they had an up and down. He took off the shoes and all the clothes was laying. I said, "God, how do they raise children here?" I never saw this in my life. But anyways, we stayed there for about 10 days in the house there. And Marsha was going to the prom. She had a prom dress, I'll never forget it, and a shocking pink gown. And then I got the invitation to go to Topeka. So,
To where?
Detroit.
To Detroit, excuse me, for the wedding. So I needed a gown. So Marsha said, "You take my gown." And I tried it on, and it fit me. So I took Marsha's gown with me because I didn't have it, and went to Detroit. And when I got to Detroit, I saw people that I know, and I saw friends, and I had the cousins there. So we said, "We're going to move to Detroit." So we went back home. We bought a little car, a Dodge. I will never forget it, a green Dodge. And we put everything in the car, whatever we had left, and we traveled to Detroit. Not knowing, we spoke a little. Then in Topeka, we had we went to a night school.
Principal.
And the principal from the high school, we got to very nice people. And we would go every day to the night school at night, and she would come to the house in the morning and would sit with me and say, "Spoon, fork, plate, floor," and point it to me and record it. And then I would sit and play it back and repeat the same thing. Then I would make sentences with her and also record it. And that's how we learned the language. The 9 months really gave me the foundation for the language that I learned.
You went through, obviously, a tremendous amount of pain. And when people ask me, they say, what can you tell me about your parents? I think about your optimism and your love of life as opposed to focusing on what was the worst of times. How did you come out? How do you feel? how did that happen? How were you able to come out? Not only surviving, I know you often say to me, it's not only, it was luck, but there was more. You talk about having the guts or what, I want you to tell me, I think this is the most important thing that I think that we could all know is how did you keep that positive spirit? What drove you?
I tell you, when I was in camp, in the lowest, when I really was very down and like I was in that bunker, and I figured this is the end of me, I said, I want to live. I want to live and see the Germans lose the war. I want to live to have a piece of bread on the table that I can eat as much as I wanted. And I want to see my family. I want maybe someone will be alive. And that's what drove me to go through what I went through. To just not think about it. I mean, I wanted to live. I really wanted to live and see what's going to happen. That's what was in my mind.
And what drives you, what allowed you to get past it? You know, when you came to this country?
Because it came that I had my children, I had my family, and this takes a lot away from my past because I have so much pleasure now.
Dad?
What?
For you, what allowed you to, what drove you to not only survive, but also drives your spirit, your passion? And so many people in your circumstances, and you know them, are still very depressed. They never were able to move forward. What do you think allowed you to move forward?
The first thing was that I was not in concentration camp. I lived between people, you understand, moving around for 3 years, meant a lot. Number two, I would say my whole family, we were very much business oriented. If somebody would ask me today, I mean, what is your hobby? My hobby is business. As much as I like to play golf, I play tennis, I play golf, I like to watch every kind of game, but if it comes, everything is by me on the side. Business comes first, okay? So in Germany I started to do, because why? I was a good butcher. Like somebody knows how to play a fiddle, I knew how to hold a knife in my hand and do things with it. See, people don't care. Well, yeah, butcher, what is a butcher? Don't mean anything. But this drove me, and I done very well in Germany with it. I learned a lot about making sausage, making ham, which other people in my age, the same thing, survived the war, and their thinking was, I don't know what their thinking was, what they were doing. One was going to school, everybody was doing something, but I concentrated on the things what I know best. And I wanted to learn a trade, that I have a trade in my hand. Because I knew to school I got always time, I can go at night, I can do anything. When I came here, I had a profession. I was here, 2-3 months. In Detroit, I was making in 1950 $250 a week. You know what that meant? In 1950? But you know what I was doing? Boning cattle. I walked in to a boning place where they take a person like, bone out, everything's all the meat off the things, okay? So there were every guy there was hillbillies and blacks. Each one was 6'2", 6'3". Here walks in a little guy like me, and there's 500-600 pound cattle hanging. How the heck? They look at me. You gonna do that? The guy he really wanted to give me a break to take me into work. He says, you think you're going to be able to do it? I says, try me. I didn't ask the guy what vacations, how much he's going to pay me. Just give me a job, that's all. I don't know if you were ever in a slaughterhouse. Were you ever? No. You see, the hinds in the front are hanging on hooks. This is how it works. Take a look. A half of a cow weighs 500-600 pounds. It's 300 pounds a half. You have to cut down, put it on your shoulder, drop it on the table, and bone it. Bone the meat out. Take it out. For restaurant supply, every piece. The pieces I knew what they are. But those guys were blindly, they could do it. I couldn't do blindly yet. And the hooks were for me too high. I couldn't get under the hooks. That's what they were joking. I made myself a 5-inch pallet, a little pallet. They used to joke when I used to bring in the pallet, and to stand on the pallet, got that front and things, drop it, and things. I got news for you. After a month, I did a better job than they did, because why? I was brought up not to leave any meat on the bones. So the boss came in, he wanted to make me right away after a month to be a manager or whatever. I mean, a foreman. I says, no, I don't want to be a foreman. Because I had mine, I could see what he does, and I can do just as well as he does. So so make the story short, but I was working, getting up 4 o'clock in the morning and come home 7 o'clock at night. Because you see, how did I make that kind of money? You bought 10 cattle a day, was $55 a day. It was $5.50 piecework. Today it's about 7, because we're doing it too. So today's about 7, $5.50 was that time. So after the first month, I was getting $3, $4. Then he come to me, he says, you get the same. It was very nice. He says, you get the same because you're doing a good job just as well as those guys are doing. And I'll tell you, I got very friendly with those guys. After 1 year, I left the place, and 3, 4 guys come with me, okay? I opened up the same thing he did, and there I start going. But I worked for 25 years from 4 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock at night. And thanks God that my health held up. But one more statement I can tell you. There's nothing like America. This is our land. And if a lot of people today can say it's bad here, believe me, they are very wrong. They're still here. You can do anything you want to do, but you got to work. There's no luck. People talk luck. I don't believe in that. I have today a lot of people working for me, and I know what work means.
What is the thing you want your great-grandchildren to know? If you were going to say to them, if you want them to know something about Mala Dorfman, what do you want them to know? What do you want them to remember as people?
To remember me?
As people.
Oh.
Yeah, what you want to tell them. What you want
To tell them to be honest, to be good to others, to help others. Look, that's what I'm doing. I was helped in my time when I didn't have it. And I was desperate that the German woman helped me. And that's what I'm doing today. Whoever sticks a hand out, I never say no. And that's what I want them to remember, to be as kind and good to people.
Dan?
To me, I have my grandfather. I have the same version. My grandfather used to tell to his kids, he had 3 boys and 3 daughters. Mendel, the Schöner. He used to tell them, listen, you guys, you remember one thing. God gave you 2 hands. One to take and one to give. But the word take is not earn it. That means 2 hands. One, take it, but earn it. And the second, give. And thanks God that I lived with those words in my head. And he always used to say this too, fat cats don't catch no mice. And this I always say to my management. And this is exactly what I'm doing. I'm trying to help. I'm very much involved in the community. Believe me, I am in the midst of the city, in Detroit, which people can complain and say, oh, Detroit? I love Detroit. There's nothing wrong with Detroit. You just got to know how to handle people, how to work with people. And I have 90% black. I never had a problem. Never. I have no problem with unions because I tell them the way it is. And what she just said, be honest with yourself. What would I say to my grandchildren? Just my sons and my kids, just follow my steps, thanks God. I have not an enemy in this country.
If you respect others, people respect you.
That's right.
And that's what it is.
And thanks God, I'm doing pretty well. I'm not complaining.
We're sitting here, it's February 10th, 1992, the day before my father's 70th birthday, and I'm sitting with Mala Dorfman, my mother, and Henry Dorfman, my father, and talking about their past and some issues that I've been wanting to ask them about for a very, very long time.